Welcome to Urban Lore, where every city has a secret and every skyline tells a story. Today, we explore a place where steel met ambition and stone captured dreams. New York City. From colonial cobblestone streets to soaring glass towers, New York's architecture reflects centuries of growth, reinvention, and resilience. This isn't just a history of buildings, it is the story of a city constantly reimagining itself. Join us as we trace the evolution of one of the world's most iconic urban landscapes. This is the history of architecture in New York. Colonial roots, 1600s, 1700s. Our journey begins in the 17th century, when New York was still known as New Amsterdam. Dutch settlers brought with them simple, practical architecture, steeply pitched roofs, brick facades, and narrow gables. These homes were modest, built to withstand harsh winters and maximize tight urban spaces. After the British took control in 1664, the city slowly adopted Georgian architecture, symmetrical and formal, influenced by English tastes. Think brick townhouses with white trim, paneled doors, and classical columns. One of the few surviving buildings from this era is Fraunces Tavern, built in 1719. It served not only as a pub, but also played a key role in Revolutionary history. George Washington bid farewell to his officers there. This era laid the groundwork for New York's grid-like streets and its reputation for merging function with power. Even in its infancy, the city was already adapting, blending European traditions with colonial grit. Federal and Greek Revival, 1790s, 1850s. By the end of the Revolutionary War, New York had become the first capital of the United States, and its architecture evolved to match this new identity. The federal style emerged, influenced by Roman ideals of democracy and order. Homes were slender and elegant, with brick facades, elliptical fanlights, and refined woodwork. Walk through Greenwich Village, and you'll still see these relics, narrow, reserved, yet dignified. As America's confidence grew, so did its architectural ambition. The Greek Revival style swept through New York in the early 19th century. Massive white columns, triangular pediments, and temple-like facades defined this look. It symbolized stability, enlightenment, and civic pride. Federal Hall, rebuilt in 1842, stands as a testament to this neoclassical vision. It was here that George Washington took his presidential oath, surrounded by architecture that projected authority and timeless ideals. This period set the tone. New York would reflect not just who it was, but who it aspired to be. The rise of the brownstone, 1850s, 1880s. As the 19th century progressed, New York expanded rapidly. Immigrants poured in, wealth accumulated, and neighborhoods multiplied. Enter the brownstone, one of the city's most iconic housing types. Made from reddish-brown sandstone quarried in the Northeast, these row houses lined entire blocks in Brooklyn, Harlem, and the Upper West Side. With their tall stoops, arched doorways, and iron railings, brownstones offered middle-class elegance with a uniform look. Meanwhile, the wealthy elite began constructing elaborate townhomes and mansions in Second Empire and Italianate styles. Picture mansard roofs, ornate cornices, and grand staircases, a nod to European fashion and sophistication. Even as the city's population doubled and tripled, the architecture remained expressive and aspirational. This was a period of density and dignity. New York was growing fast, but it wasn't compromising on character. Each brownstone was more than a house, it was a statement, solid, stylish, and enduring. Beaux-Arts and the Gilded Age, 1880s, 1910s, the turn of the 20th century brought the Gilded Age an era of staggering wealth, rapid industrialization, and cultural ambition. And New York's architecture followed suit. The elite, flush with railroad and banking fortunes, turned to the grandiose Beaux-Arts style trained in the École des Beaux-Arts in Paris. These buildings were lavish, symmetrical, and teeming with detail. columns, domes, sculptures, and staircases meant to dazzle. Some of the most iconic landmarks of this style include the original Pennsylvania Station, the New York Public Library, and the glorious Grand Central Terminal. These structures weren't just functional, they were monumental, theatrical, and proud. At the same time, new technologies like steel framing and the elevator enabled buildings to rise higher than ever. The Flatiron Building, completed in 1902, shocked and awed with its triangular form and 22-story height. This was a time when money met imagination. Public spaces became temples of civic pride, and private homes rivaled palaces. The Gilded Age cemented New York's identity as a city that didn't just grow, it glorified its own ambition in stone and steel. Art Deco and the Skyline Wars, 1920s, 1930s. The Roaring Twenties brought jazz, wealth, and an obsession with modernity. New York, already a city of ambition, took it vertical. This was the age of Art Deco, a bold, geometric style that embraced luxury and progress. At the center of this movement were the Skyline Wars, a fierce competition to build the world's tallest skyscraper. The Chrysler Building, completed in 1930, rose like a stainless steel rocket. Its shining spire was secretly assembled inside the building, then hoisted into place to surprise competitors. But just 1 year later, the Empire State Building stole the crown, soaring to 150 feet. Built in just 13 months during the Great Depression, it symbolized American resilience and drive. Beyond these icons, Art Deco touched apartment buildings, movie theaters, and even subway stations, blending elegance with machine-age confidence. Rockefeller Center brought public art, outdoor plazas, and a unified architectural vision to Midtown Manhattan. This era wasn't just about height, it was about style, symmetry, and spectacle. New York wasn't just growing, it was dazzling the world. Modernism and the international style, 1940s, 1970s, post-war optimism, gave birth to a new philosophy. Modernism. Gone were the decorative frills of Art Deco. In their place came clean lines, glass facades, and minimalist forms. The international style took hold, championed by architects like Mies van der Rohe and Philip Johnson. Buildings like the Seagram Building, 1958, and Lever House, 1952, introduced a sleek, corporate elegance, sheer curtain walls, steel frames, and an emphasis on proportion. Skyscrapers became more about function than form, reflecting a globalizing economy. Residential high-rises and public housing projects like those by Nietzsche reshaped entire boroughs, often controversially. Some saw beauty in simplicity, others saw a loss of identity. But make no mistake, this was New York adapting again, rethinking space in a vertical world. Postmodernism to today, 1980s present. By the 1980s, architects began to rebel against minimalism. Enter postmodernism, a playful, often ironic style that revived classical elements in bold, unexpected ways. Take the Sony Tower, formerly AT&T, with its Chippendale-style roof, a corporate building dressed like a piece of furniture. Elsewhere, Soho's cast-iron facades found new life as art galleries and luxury lofts. The past wasn't demolished, it was repurposed. In the 21st century, New York has embraced innovation, sustainability, and global design. The High Line transformed an abandoned rail line into a linear park, while One World Trade Center rose from tragedy as a beacon of resilience. Starchitects like Zaha Hadid, Bjarke Ingels, and Frank Gehry have left futuristic marks, curves, angles, and glass shimmering over the Hudson. Today's New York skyline is alive, constantly evolving, digitally designed, and environmentally conscious. From colonial huts to pixel-perfect towers, architecture remains the city's boldest storyteller. New York's architecture is more than brick, steel, and glass. It's a living timeline of dreams, disasters, and daring ideas. From Dutch farmhouses to mile-high towers, every corner tells a story of people striving higher. Each era left its mark, not just in structures, but in the soul of the city. Because in New York, buildings don't just shelter lives, they shape them. Thank you for joining us on this journey through time. If you enjoyed this episode of Urban Lore, be sure to like, subscribe, and ring the bell for more stories from the world's most fascinating cities. Until next time, stay curious and stay inspired.